Well, hello there. Welcome back to Old Bitty Gaming. I'm the Old Bitty, your host, and we're back in Wurm Unlimited. We had the introduction video that I did last night, and today we're going to get into the settings. Uh, if you didn't watch the introduction, here where you first log into Wurm Unlimited, it comes up with internet. This is where all of the player run servers are. And all you have to do is just click on one of them and you get to play. If it's got a lock on it, that means it's private. It's password set up and you cannot get into it unless you know the people and know the password. But anything that is not locked, you can get into. And there are a few servers. I mean, there's a few. There's still it's an old game, but there's still a lot of people still play it. I love it as much as I do. Uh, Over here under the setting profile, you click on this little cogwheel, and these are your settings for your graphics, advanced graphics. I mean, this is the game settings. A bunch of those you can set up. And in graphics, you can, depending on your processor speed and everything, you can get into that. Might as well change that while I'm at it. You have post process, so you can set that. You have sound, set it for your preference. I have the music turned off. Uh, so because I don't want any YouTube infringements, I don't want to get stuck with anything playing that I could get in trouble over. So I keep the music off. Text, that's for chatting, things like that. So I don't mess with that since I play by myself. Compatibility, and here are the keybinds, and there are a lot of them. You can change your keybinds. I keep everything as the default keybinds because I'm used to them. It's just easy for me to do. But there's HUD keybinds, there's movement keybinds, action keybinds, crafting, items, creatures, terraforming, nature, fighting. There's settings for the priest. That is whatever if you follow the religions, spells. So yeah, there are a lot of keybinds. I want to save that since I changed that one setting. I tried to put in Old Biddy as a name, and I even tried Biddy, but apparently Wurm Unlimited thinks that might be a cuss word or something because it wouldn't let me log into the game with either one of those. So I went ahead and just went with OB Gaming. Now, to get into the setup on the game, you want Manage Local Server. And you get this black screen come up and it'll load a whole bunch of stuff. Now, before we start the game. Let's go in and check and change some settings in here. Local server. This is all settings for what you're, playing by yourself basically. You don't want to change anything in this except you want to put your name up here and you want to put your password down here. Leave the rest of this alone. You can allow PvP. Since I'm playing by myself, I don't want PvP. Epic settings, excuse me. Epic settings has to do with godlike stuff. I don't ever mess with that either. You want to keep home server checked. Home server I've got as number 4, and that one is for the Freedom server because I like doing the Freedom server. You can change it to 1, 2, 3, whichever server you want to do, and you can check the different kingdoms on Wurmpedia. It will tell you a little bit about the kingdoms. I don't do the message of the day. You could write yourself a message. I just leave it generic. Admin password, since I'm not having anybody else playing the game, I'll leave that blank. Advanced server settings. That has to do with your ports and all that stuff. I leave those alone. I have known nothing about it. I have tried to set up my own server, but I don't know how to mess with my router settings, and I really messed it up. So I just leave that alone. I don't even try anymore. I know there's tutorials out there to help you do it, but I just don't do it. This is my login server, so I want to keep that. It's not a test server, so again, keep that unchecked. NPCs, you can check it if you're playing the adventure mode, and I'm not, so I will be playing in the creative mode. So I just uncheck the NPCs. I can put NPCs into the game, certain types later, but I don't really need that right now. In-game items, I'm not interested in that either. PV spy prevention, we're not doing PvP, so I'll uncheck that. Random spawn points. If you have this checked, it will spawn you at one of the soul stones in the world. You won't know where you are, but you will spawn at one of the soul stones. I've spawn point X, spawn point Y. These are the spawn points for the area that I want to be in, for the soul stone I want to be in. I have a list of the spawn numbers for every soul stone, so if you want to know where something is, just leave me a comment and I'll help you with that. 1180 and 1048. Hopefully, if the game's working right, it will put me in the lakes area, and I really, really like that. There's different kingdoms you can spawn in, which I don't really mess with. Now we're into the game settings. Skill settings, things like that. Mind logic. Excuse me, let me get a drink of Coke here. This cold weather is killing me. Itchy throat. Mind logic. You have to have mind logic and body control up so high before you can ride a horse and things like that. So I normally set these about 25. You can change all of these settings, but you cannot go over 99.0. It won't take 100. But the higher you change these numbers to, the easier the game becomes. And to me, that's just not fun. I like the challenge, so I try to keep everything fairly low. Our fight skill start value, I've got it at 10, which is fairly basic. In Wurm Online, they start you out at 1, and it is a long time before you can hit any of these skill values like this. Uh, so it's great that you can change these. In this game, even if you do have it low, you do advance fast. So it doesn't really matter that much. But these are just the settings that I like. Your overall skill start value, I start that at 10. Just keep it low and interesting. Your player combat rating modifier, I normally keep that about 3, 4 at the most. Since, you know, it's just a number I like. Action speed multiplier. That has to do with, like using your pickaxe in your mine or chopping down a tree. Any kind of action you perform, you can multiply it, put a multiplier in here, and each time you perform an action, it'll go up. So I like to keep that low. It's just my preference. Max creatures. There are, default is 10,000 max creatures in the world. If you really, depends on your computer, but if you go over 10,000, it can cause lag. So I keep that at 10,000. Excuse me. Boy, my throat is just driving me nuts. Aggressive creatures. I have that at 0. Start with, I don't want any aggressive creatures in the game because in this game, even a chicken will kill you. When you're first starting out, you are very, very, very weak. And of course, the very first time I jumped in to play this game, first thing I thought I'd do was up my skill a little bit, fight a chicken. Well, that was a big mistake. I died. I mean, I died bad to a chicken. So yeah, don't underestimate the damage that these animals do put on you. But I don't want the dragons or any of the aggressive creatures in there right now, especially as weak as I am. So I set that to 0. You can always go back and change it once you get further along in the game. Because in this game, when one creature dies, and they do die, either from old age or being killed by another animal or whatever, they will be replaced by another creature. Be it, you might have a venerable horse die, which is old for a horse, and you might end up with a dragon. You might end up with a troll, or you might end up with a cow or a sheep or a horse or whatever. So even if you set this at 0, there's a good possibility that there still will be some aggressive creatures in there. But I'm going to take care of that here in a little bit. Down here, you've got the settlement upkeep. You can either enable it or disable it. If you enable it, then you have to pay a fee to keep it. I mean, you have to pay an upkeep to keep your property. But I always uncheck that because it's just me and I want to build in the whole world. So I don't want to have to pay for upkeep. Excuse me. So I have no deeding costs check. That means anything I do won't cost me money. This down here talking about the trader money, that you can put traders in the creative game later to, to buy things, but I don't deal with them too much. Excuse me. So I just leave that as default. Mining. Default is 51. I don't want it to take 51 hits to knock down a mine wall. So I turn it down to 25. I mean, that way you're still hitting it quite a bit, but it's not as bad. Uh, Breeding time, I leave that alone. The field growth timer, that's an hour. That's for your crops to grow. Uh, some people make that higher, lower. If you have a public server or set up a server for your friends to play with, then that server will be running 24 hours a day unless you shut it down. So this is mainly if your game is running all the time, you don't want your crops to become ready to pick until you're able to do it. Because if you're not playing and they become ready to pick, they can die. So I just leave that as it is because I only play whenever I load the game, so it doesn't really matter to me. Tree spread odds, I leave that as default. The money pool in silver, I leave that as default. Server neighbors, let's save that. The server neighbors is basically if you start a public server and you have different things like one is PvP, one is PvE, you can set them up here. So you can have, more than one server time set up. Server travel, that has to do with that too. Players, I'll have to wait till I do, well, yeah, it's showing I can do it, so let's see. I want my player game management power set at GM 5. I do use that once in a while, and the GM, I don't consider it cheating because I just use it once in a while. I don't use it for everything. I don't spawn in a whole bunch of stuff in the game. I don't do things like that. But GM5 is about as high as you can go, and that's what I go for. I mainly use it when I'm logged into a game. If I see a scorpion or a spider or one of the aggressive creatures that aren't supposed to be there, then I will use my GM5 to get rid of it. And once in a while, if I'm laying a long road or something like that, I'll use the GM to help along with that too. Save that. Okay, now let's go to the database. What you want to do, like I told you, you have adventure mode, you have creative mode. We will be playing on creative mode. But whenever you come in, try to create a copy of the game you are playing. If you start a game and thoroughly mess it up and you want to start completely from scratch again, start it on the copy. Make sure you always have a copy to do that with, because it's no fun having to go into your game files and you have to delete the creative mode, you have to delete the adventure files and rebuild them. And it's no fun doing that. So just make sure that you have a copy. Now, what I want to do, I want to start offline server. Offline means we're going to play in the LAN. We're not playing on what they call the internet side. We're playing on the local side. Wait for our little black information thing over here to log in. Okay, server connected to Steam. We want to minimize that and that. Don't close them, just minimize them. If you close them, then it closes the whole game. Now we want to go here to LAN. It says Old Biddy Gaming. Let's click on that. Click on Connect. Put in the password. Click OK. Let's see what happens. The game is loading. And there it is. I guess it liked OBG. It sure didn't like Old Biddy or... So we'll keep OBG or OB gaming. Okay, this is your character starting screen. So I want to be a female. It can be either male or female. Just select whichever one you want. Click send. Alright, game has loaded in. The head, you can change that. There's a few different changes you can make for your character. Find one. Doesn't look too bad here. Don't like that. That one's not too bad. That one's not bad. No. No. I don't like the chin on that one. I think we're going to stick with that one. Eyes. Kind of changes the shape of the eyes. Yeah, I like that one. Well, no, I don't. Let's go with that one. The nose looks okay to me. The chin. Let's see if we can change the chin a little bit. Yeah, I think I like that chin. Complexion's okay. Skin color's okay. Eye color. Yeah. Hair. You can hold your left mouse button and turn. So you can... I sure don't like the hair. Let's change it. Kind of like that one. Every time I come in this game, I change everything. Mm, I've still got to do something about that chin. Eyebrows, yeah, still I like the eyebrows. Hair color, no. Let's go with that. I'm going to work on that chin just a little bit more. Over the side. Let me see what it looks like. No. That'll do. And then when you get it however you want it set up, just click OK. Are you sure? Yes. All right. Now it says, Welcome to Wurm. This tutorial will show you how to get started in Wurm. Click the next below to get started. We'll go through a few of these. I doubt if we can get them all done today, but we'll go through a few. Oh, boy, mouse sensitivity. Excuse me. First thing I want to do, I want to check, make sure we're in the place. If you hover your mouse over it, Stone of Soulfall, Central Lake. So we are where I want to be. Okay, looking around. Move this over here, which is a little easier for me to see. Click and hold the left mouse button, then move the mouse to look around at your surroundings. Okay, let's do that. Oh, I'm gonna have to adjust my mouse. Okay, that's done. Movement. Use the WASD keys in order to move around. Yeah, so we want to walk. S, D, W, A. And also, if you hold your left mouse button, you can walk and turn and go, whatever direction you want to go in. Let's see what else they've got to say. Okay, they have opened up our little quick bar down here. Some land in Wurm can be too steep for you to simply walk across. Enable climbing mode by pressing Z or the climb button in order to climb steep slopes. So down here, that's your climbing toggle. It shows a man walking up a hill. Let's get over here and hit that climb button. It slows you down. But we'll start walking and we'll start climbing. Okay. While climbing mode is enabled, you'll walk a lot slower and drain more stamina than usual. Disable climbing mode by pressing Z or the climb button again. So let's go down here and just click that. So now it's off. Keep an eye on your stamina while moving, climbing, or doing actions. That is this green bar up here. That's your food bar. Now that's your water bar. That is your food bar. This is some food buffs. Uh, your calories basically. You got calories, carbs, fats, proteins are along here. These little, well, you got a little bit. Down here is your sleep bonus, which you get for sleeping in a bed. Down here where the black is. All right. Keep an eye on your stamina while moving, climbing, or doing actions. Running out of stamina can lead your character getting tired, walking slower, completing actions slower, or possibly falling down from a steep slope if you are climbing. And it does happen, believe me. I've died many, many times from falling from a high place because I was in climb mode and ran out. Sometimes you'll just slide back down, but other times, if you're going up something extremely steep, it does happen. To regain your stamina, simply stand still for a few seconds. You cannot regain stamina while climbing is toggled on. So if you've got this climbing toggle on, you're not going to regain your stamina no matter how long you stand still. So if your stamina gets down real low, make sure you run down, get your stamina back up, and able to climb again. Try to climb at a little bit lower area. Okay. Inventory items. Press I or click on the inventory button to get your inventory. You can go down here, click on it if you want to. It's down here in the bottom left corner. I usually just click I. It's that simple. Did I get my GM? And I did. Right here. Ebony wand. Whenever you have that clicked, you will be invisible and the animals will not bother you. You can change that by right clicking. Well, maybe not there. Somewhere here you can change it. But inventory, you don't start with many items. Everything is basic. It can't be Nothing can be upgraded on the basic tools. If you build your own, then you can upgrade them as high as you can, depending on your skill and what quality material you're using. But we've got a hatchet, a shield, carving knife, steel and flint. That's same as a lighter. That's what you're going to light your fires with. Pottery bowl. That's what you're going to cook food in. Start with shovel, pickaxe, a rake, rope. The rope is to catch a horse or something like that to ride. Okay, we got a long sword, a compass. The compass is very puny compass. You can build a better one later. It takes a while for this compass to adjust after you move. Get a tent, a deed stake, and I went ahead and got my ebony wand. Excuse me. Let me grab another sip here. So let's see what it says. In this window, you can select items, move them around, and view any containers and items inside containers that are in your inventory. You can carry some things like your pottery bowl. If you've got a meal in there or you have ingredients to make a meal, a plus sign will come up beside it and you click on it and it will show exactly what's in there. You can carry a few small items in your pottery bowl, but not much. When opening any container item in the world, such as a chest, you will have a similar window show up for that item where you can interact with any of the items stored inside. Okay? Each item in Worm has an associated quality level and damage level, both between 0 and 100. A few An item with a higher quality will be more effective than a lower quality item and will generally last longer. As an item is used, it will gain damage. That lowers the effective quality of the item and will cause it to be destroyed if the damage ever reaches 100 without being repaired. So yeah, it does happen. You can look here right now. Our hatchet, the quality is 30. It has no damage. So it helps. Our steel and flint has quality of 50, which is good. They'll last you a while, but they can be repaired. You just can't improve them. Starting out, inside your inventory, you will have some items to help you get started in Worm. This includes some basic armor, weapons, and tools. These starter items cannot be improved and will stay with you through death. After I start making my own stuff, I just throw them in a chest. There is a trash heap that you can build, and you can throw them unwanted items in that, and it will delete it eventually. In order to get better versions of these items, you will need to create and improve them yourself or have another player help you. Since there isn't another player in my creative private world, I'll have to do it myself. Upon death, your body your body will become a corpse at the location you died and will contain any items you are carrying that aren't sorter or starter items. If you want to get those items back, you'll need to travel back to your corpse and retrieve your items. As a part of your starting items, you will have a tent. Dropping the tent on the ground will let you respawn there when you die, as well as your tent location. You'll be able to choose to spawn at a village if you are a member of one, and any allied villages or a starter town. We don't have any of those, so we depend on our tent. Now, that's the chat window. This is the chat window where you can talk to other players in the game. You can use the CA help chat to ask questions about game mechanics and how to do something. Local chat will send messages to any players nearby you in the world and your kingdom chat. I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time seeing this. I wish I could make it bigger. Uh, Kingdom chat will send messages to everyone in your current server in that kingdom. Any chat starting with GL will send messages to all connected servers instead of just your server. This window also contains the trade tab where you can find other players selling or buying items. The way I'm playing by myself, the only thing I use this for is if I have Spirit Templar guards or regular guards from a guard tower built to watch what they say. If they run across a creature, they're fighting, it'll come up in here where they're talking to each other. Pardon me. Uh, if you want to like check the time or the date or something like that, you can do that here too. But other than that, I don't use it. Okay. Now we've got our event window. The event window will show you any relevant information to the action you're doing, as well as showing you a progress bar underneath with the current action you're completing and the time remaining. Say you're chopping down a tree. It will tell you what you're doing, and it will tell you how long before that is completed, or that action is completed. Well, let's go on to the next one. All right, now we're up to activating and equipping. Let me grab another swig of my coat and see if we can get through this. I'll be glad when winter's over. All this snow and ice and everything we're not used to, it's taking a toll on this old woman. Most most actions that you can complete in Worm require an active item in order to do the action. This may mean you need to activate a shovel to dig some dirt or a hatchet in order to chop down a tree. To activate an item, simply double click it while it is inside your inventory. The item will turn green and show at the bottom of your inventory as your current active item. Oh, I'm so terribly sorry. I can't get my throat clear. But to activate an item, like do the hatchet, you just double click. The words turn green. It's got a blue bar around it. And down here it'll say activated hatchet iron. And that's all there is to that. Equipping items is different than activating them and is generally only used for armor and weapons. You can still activate items that are equipped, but items equipped in your hands are not considered actively activated by default. Press C, click the character button to open the character window. Right. You can go down here, click on this one, and your character will come up. I just use the C. There's your character. You can go, and if you're hurt, it will show what part of your body needs to be healed. Or you can click on your body, or you can click on that, right button finally. It's up here in the corner, and it will show what armor you're wearing, what weapons you have, what you're holding. I'm still holding the hatchet, so I've got this great big huge hatchet. So, what they want you to do next They want you to click and drag any equipable items, such as armor pieces, to your character in this window to have it equipped. To unequip an item, drag it from the slot it is equipped to your character in this. Uh, to unequip an item, drag it from the slot it is equipped in to your character in this window again, and it will move the item back to your inventory. You can also right click an item in your inventory and select the equip action. That's what I do. So I want to take this, I've got a shield up here. Let's right click, equip. Now I've got the shield. Let's do the same thing with this long sword. Right click, equip. Come on, equip. And it'll show up in the slot it belongs in. Like my sword is over here, my shield is over here. And I guess we're done with that. So we'll get rid of our character window. World interaction. A large amount of game interaction can be completed through the menu that appears when right-clicking something while hovering over it. This will show various actions you can take with the hovered target and may show extra options depending on what item you have activated at the time. Oh, I'm terribly sorry. There comes our another little quick bar. You can also left click on anything in the world to select it and have it show in the select bar, which is this up here. This will then show the primary action you can take for the selected target with your current activated item as buttons on the bottom of the select bar down here. In addition, you can right-click the selected target in the bar to get the full right-click action menu as well. So what you can do, right-click on pick. Don't really want to equip it since it's not a weapon, but you can drop it on the ground or place it. You can repair it. Since we're not in a mine or anything, I can't uh, chop anything with it, so there isn't much on that. Mm. Boy, excuse me. Most actions can also be bound to a key of your choice. Now we're getting into the keybinds, which will attempt the action when the key is pressed while hovering the mouse over a certain target. You can set your keybinds from the settings window via the main menu. In addition, double-clicking most targets in the world will examine that item and give you some extra information about them. Be careful when double-clicking another creature, as that will cause you to attempt to attack it. So yeah, do not double-click on any live animal or creature or anything like that, because you'll go into attack mode and they will come after you. And what they're talking about setting your keybinds, I showed you on the main starting screen. On this screen, all you have to do is hit escape. You can bring up your character, your inventory, your skills, the map, uh, Valerie, which is the gods area, console. I never use that. Your settings, the settings is the same as that cogwheel I showed you in the start. You got HUD settings, support, wiki search, that's the Wurmpedia, and this is how you quit. You can quit the game. Right clicking on an item in your inventory or character and selecting the drop action will cause the item to drop on the ground in front of you. Oh, I can't get rid of this. A special exception to this is when dropping a pile of dirt or a pile of sand, which will change the terrain at the nearest tile corner to your position. To drop these items as an item on the ground, select the drop as pile action. So if you're digging or in the corners of a tile, and what they're talking about tile is this blue area, and you're digging in one of these corners, try to level it or whatever, the dirt or the sand will go into your inventory. And it does get very heavy. You can only hold so much. So if you right click while it's in your inventory, you can drop it as a pile, which will be just a heap on the ground. And then you can open it up and take what you need to do what you need to do with it. If you drop it on the ground, it will fill in that corner. It will erase it. So, depending on what you do with it. Oh, I hate this part of it. I never can do it. But let's read it. You can also select the place option from the same menu instead of drop. Let me show you. Go here to rope. Here's drop. You can either drop it on the ground or place it. This will allow you to place the item in an exact position nearby using your mouse with the rotation that you want, if you can get it to do it. Use the mouse scroll to rotate the item while placing, left click to confirm placement, or right click to cancel placement. Place an item from your inventory to continue. We'll give it a try. I'm not promising anything. Let's get down here where I can see. I'm not promising anything. This was an addition that was later in the game, and I never can get it to do what I want it to do. Alright. So we're going to take the rope here. We're going to right click, go down to drop, and we're going to place. Alright. I'm going to put it right there, and I'm going to left click. You see down here at the bottom right under the event window, this blue bar going across. It's saying it's placing it and how long it's going to take before it is placed. One thing, it takes forever for it to place. And if you move it to sliders or whatever, then you'll get this little message that says you decide not to place it. That's what always happens to me. But we'll give it a try. It's faster for me to drop the item and then I can move it You know, you can move stuff forward, backward, whatever, and that is quicker. To me, the only thing this is good for is if you need something in a precise location or set a precise way, or maybe put a vase or a bowl or something on top of a table, then you use this. But to me, it's just a pain. We'll get through a couple more of these tutorial items and then we'll probably have to call it for today and get hopefully the rest of the tutorials done in the next video. Let's see what it says. It's almost done. You decide against placing a rope. Yeah. So what I'm going to do on this, excuse me, let me get another swig of Coke. Throat so itchy it feels like something's crawling around in me. You can try it when you're going through the tutorials, and if you get fed up like I do, just click skip stage. Yes, I don't want to do it. Similar to dropping, once an item is on the ground in the world, you can right click it and select the take action in order to pick it up. Alright, we can do that. Let's take a rope, drop on ground, there it is. Right click on it, right click on it. Now, that's the one. Anytime you drop anything, put it down or whatever, you get this theft warning. And if you're playing by yourself, just check that I have understood this message and then get rid of it. If you are playing on a server with other people, it's good to have. You don't want people stealing your stuff. So this is a warning telling you that somebody can pick it up. But since I'm by myself, okay, now click on the rope, right click on the rope, go down here, left click take, and I've got it back. Alright. And now it looks like we're getting into terraforming. I think we've done enough for today. Let's just leave that there. What I want to do is I want to get up to the area, get away from here, get over to where I'm going to be playing. Now look at the horses. Pretty. I've got to adjust my mouse. It's just moving way too easy. And we are going to go over here and right between those two, we'll that mountain and that other hill area. That's the lowest point. That's another reason I did my body and mind logic and stuff, because I can go up a little bit steeper hill. If you started out too low, you won't be able to make it up a low hill like this. And you'll have to use that climb slope button. But to move around, you just hold down your left mouse button and use your WSAD keys. Just kind of turn as you walk. There's another horse. Eventually we will have horses because I like to breed them. And yes, you can breed. And it's so nice having babies. Alright. And that is why I like the lakes. Isn't that pretty? I know the graphics are bad, but it's still pretty to me. There's a lot of room to build in. The ground is a little bit flatter, so it just makes it easier. And we are going to go down this way out to this little dip here. That's the easy way to get off of here. I see you. See, it looks so innocent. Yeah, right. This it does. It just looks so innocent. And there are a lot of stones. You really can't get rid of them. They're kind of there. Got a cow. I'm keeping an eye out for any creature that's here that's not supposed to be here, because I don't want to have to deal with them. I know they won't attack me in my... Let's get over here in my GM mode. Come on. There we go. Just to be on the safe side. In case something is down here that I don't want to deal with. You can get some Templar guards whenever you set up your feed. They will fight animals for you, but you have to stay in their influence. Pardon me. You have to stay in their influence in the same way with uh, the tower guards. You have to be within a certain amount of tiles for them to help you. In the beginning, like I say, it's just safer for me to turn them off, because if I've got the dangerous creatures in here, then I'm dead. No, horsey. Let's get over here. I want to. This is pretty much where I want to be. Down here at this lake. That's where I like to drop my tent. And we'll get over here and we will close out the video for the day. Next one we'll finish the tutorials. And then we can get into some real gameplay. We will be taking a tour of all the soul stones, just to give you an idea of the area of each one, kind of what they look like. This is such a nice area to me. I really, really like this one. And there's a lot of accessible area where you don't have huge mountains and things like that to go over. But anyway, that's going to be the end of today's video. If you liked the game, give me a thumbs up. If you have any questions, leave me a comment. I love getting comments. I reply to every one of them. So, yeah, just leave me a comment. If you want to see more of this old woman rattling on and coughing in your ear, hit that subscribe button. If you want to know when the next video comes out, hit that notification bell. But everybody have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.